Namaste everyone. This is Uday Wankawala. I am the CEO for Atal Incubation Center, Rambhau, Mhalgi, Prabodhini, which is supported by Atal Innovation Mission, NITI Aayog, Government of India. Welcome to this special episode of Baat Cheet. Special for two reasons. One, it's Janmashtami today. Second, we have a very special guest today. And why I would say special, because he has been the former first mission director and additional secretary at NITI Aayog. He is the Indian innovation and startup ecosystem evangelist. He was previously the MD and CEO of CMC Limited. That comes from Tata Sons. I think Tata's, that's one of the most reputed names in the industry and in corporate, Indian corporate. And I believe Tata's contribution, and that's what I always talk about with Ramanan ji, that two of the best things. One is IIT Bombay alumnus 81 batch, right, sir? And Tata's, I think that's one of the best sort of learnings that you would have gotten from best of the institutions, and which you really helped Atal Innovation Mission right through its inception and setting up of Atal Incubation Centers, Atal Tinkering Labs. I mean, if I would go on, then it's almost like next 45 minutes, I'm going to talk about the achievements, and also I'll restrict myself. But today's Baat Cheet, our objective is to discuss about future industries. It is also to discuss about disruptive marketing, millennials and implications on startup community, and much more. So this Baat Cheet is based on, but not restricted to, mind you, global trend report, which talks about 12 industries that will thrive thanks to the millennials. And I believe that there is a lot of learning. The key takeaways would be how the current or the present scenario is shaping up for AIC RMP as well as AIC incubators all across. I would say Atal Innovation Mission incubators, and how this kind of things or trends will help startups to adjust or maybe pivot or navigate their future proofing of their business. I mean, that is what we are really looking at by having this particular Baat Cheet being organized. Today's Baat Cheet is being facilitated by Mr. Anindya Ghosh. He's the founding partner, Sam and Andy, and also AIC RMP mentor. They are also our knowledge partner for today, as well as for a couple of sessions that we would do, Baat Cheet sessions that we would do in future. He comes with almost 2 decades of experience in brand management and strategic marketing. He's a visiting faculty on consumer behavior at some of the leading management and communication institutes of India. And we have witnessed him mentoring budding startups as well as startups from our portfolio at AIC RMP, and they do it fantastically well. So over to you, Anindya ji, and looking forward to engaging and a very conversational Baat Cheet. Without, I always say, it's non-scripted. So I'm sure it's going to be impromptu with the eminent personality like Mr. R. Ramanan, and we would be able to get a lot of insights from him. So over to you, Anindya ji.
Thank you, Uday ji, and welcome, sir. Welcome, Ramanan ji. And I hope we will have a great session today, because ye Baat Cheet khatam karte, we'll move on to the main Baat Cheet. The first question, or the first tinkering, because Uday ji has used the word tinkering lab. So tinkering is a very nice word. Nudging is a very nice word. Instigation is a very nice word, right? The first question is that I think with my age, I'm forgetting your age. With my age, we haven't seen so much of changes, and particularly behavioral changes that has happened in the past 1.5 years in this globally, not in this country, globally. So much of changes that has happened, whether the business side or personal side. So how you envisage these changes impacting as challenges and opportunities for the Indian startup? Because in the shortest time possible, these changes has happened and your pivots are not ready. Sometimes you pivot and grow, sometimes your pivots are not ready. Right. So what are the challenges and what are the opportunities that you see that these changes has begun for this Indian startup ecosystem?
Thank you, Anindya, and thank you, Uday, for that generous introduction. And also good evening to all the people who have logged on to this call. It's indeed a pleasure and privilege for me to be able to spend a few moments interacting on a very important topic that we are discussing, and that is the future of various industries, disruptive marketing, as we are all interested in, and which is possible today. as well as what is driving all these changes and these opportunities, as Anindya has asked. First and foremost, I think, there is this very famous book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point. And
Yes.
we have, at this point in our time, in our history, I guess, reached the tipping point of many things where things are coming together. Let's take in India, for example. India is at is in the cusp of some major tipping point because of multiple reasons. First and foremost, we have come a long way since independence. This is going to be the 75th year of our independence that we are experiencing. But more importantly, we have advanced tremendously as an economy, as a country, in multiple areas. We are one of the fastest growing economies of the world. We are one of the most vibrant economies of the world, growing at 6 to 8%. And that is very important when we talk about driving further change. Change builds on further change. Change is the only constant. But change gets accelerated when you create the parameters for change, and those parameters start growing. And one of the parameters is a vibrant growing economy. So we have a vibrant growing economy barring the COVID-19 crisis. And in fact, the COVID-19 crisis has been the other trigger for major change that we need to see, because this has really changed the way we look at everything in life, not just from a personal point of view, but from a professional point of view and from various other perspectives. So a simple virus has paralyzed countries across the world. It's created grievous disruption to lives and livelihoods. It has created disruption of supply chains, and it's created national lockdowns. And in the face of all of this, they say, what does not destroy me only makes me stronger. It's a very famous saying. And COVID is not destroying us, but making us stronger. But to make us stronger, we have to be very innovative. We have to be very disruptive in our thinking. And this is driving a whole lot of change. The second important thing is, we are a country which is very young, and we are going to remain a young country for the next 15, 20 years. We have the demographic dividend advantage that many countries envy us. So we have 65% of our people under 35 years old, and we have more than 50% of our people under 25 years old. Now that is an enormous energy. You need energy to drive change. Otherwise it doesn't happen. And this energy, this youthful energy that is coursing through our nation is something that is standing us in good stead, and it's going to help us become the drivers of change in this world, not just of India. I'm very confident that we are already leaping so quickly in many indices. We are among the top 48 most innovative nations of the world now in the Global Innovation Index. And just 5 years ago, we were at 81. So to Anindya's point, in the last 3-4 years, something else is happening. And that something else which is happening is what I would call as a tipping point, where a number of factors are coming together. And that's why it is leading to such acceleration of our innovation index. And so we have this tremendous energy. And the third part, which just to close this particular question of what is driving change and what is driving the opportunities, is technology. Technology is completely changing the way you're experiencing the world and the world is experiencing you. So what is happening is, and plus it is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. Now, when you have this very potent combination of a fast growing economy, a country which is having a demographic dividend, and technology which is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced, and we have an ITS industry which has blossomed over the last 20 years into a $190 to $200 billion industry, you have the perfect ingredients for driving great change. But change also gets driven only when there is great demand and there are great opportunities. And that is what India, with 1.3 billion people, with 650,000 villages, with 715 districts, with 8,000 small towns and cities, and only 8 tier 1 cities catering to our population, this is imperative. This change is imperative. Therefore, the challenges are many, but each challenge for India is an opportunity for the young entrepreneur and the young innovator. And therefore, now you see more and more people getting engaged. And these are young people who see, I have an opportunity, I need to grab this opportunity with my hands, and I need to be able to create my own destiny and the future for our country. And I think that's what's driving all of this.
Great, sir. So as I point out, if I can summarize the whole thing, so there are 3 things: a vibrant economy, energetic workforce, and you have a technology that is pumping up the whole things.
Correct.
And whatever. So now, if I see, because all these potent forces makes you a Goliath, not a David, right?
Mm.
But still, there is a chinks in the armor. Even Bhima has a chinks in the armor, right? Even
Right.
Achilles has a chink. Achilles tendon has a chinks in the armor. So, if I bullet point, what are the challenges a startup entrepreneur should look into? Because there is a whole sea of opportunity, but yes, I need to also look into my challenges. That's why my growth will be very stable, very focused, right?
Yeah.
So what are the 2-3 challenges that you envision this startup ecosystem is going to face in the next 6 months or 1 year?
So the immediate challenge for all the startups is the COVID-19 crisis, which is inhibiting progress on multiple fronts. The ability to reach to the customers, the physical presence and proximity that is required if you're driving hardware related or manufacturing related startups. They need the ability to be able to come together and the groups to come together to fructify their idea or fructify their startup. The third is the cash runway, which many of the startups, because they have not had a great opportunity. I mean, established companies have been able to grab the market space. Companies like Zomato or Flipkart and so on, they have been able to grow rapidly. Education, edtech startups, we have had 4 unicorns in edtech just announced this year. And we are also having about 21 unicorns which have come out in this COVID-19 year. So there have been many startups who have benefited from this, but for many other startups, the challenges are, how do I ensure that I preserve this financial runway, which I need in order to reach a point of either a market viable product or penetrating into a set of customers? How do I ensure that I overcome the challenges of COVID-19 and physical presence that may be required for my particular startup? If you're a software startup, yes, it becomes easier. You're only digitally connected and digitally enabled. But how do you rope in those aspects into your working? And the third is, how do we ensure that we scale up? For a startup, scaling up is very important because they have, within between 2 to 5 years, they need to make their mark. And therefore, scale up becomes very important. And for scale up, you need investment, you need exposure to investors, you need disruptive ways of getting customers and testing out and validating your product, and you need to establish a certain scale in terms of the presence in the marketplace. So these are some of the challenges that are there, but none of these challenges are showstoppers. You need to be innovative, very inventive, and you have to be very focused on your solution and your unique approaches that's going to make this happen.
Sure. So now we move on to the next discussion point, and it's a very interesting discussion point because this discussion is based on this report that we got from credit to this company called CV Insights, and they have taken these 12 interesting industries which will be shaped by the millennials, and they're going to be big industries. I will tell you the 12 industries. And the next question is on that. Okay, if these 12 industries, when I spell it out, the 12 industries, how does they matter or make sense to the cohort 1 or cohort 2 AIC RMP incubators? What they can learn, unlearn, and relearn from these 12 trends? Because trends always show you a path, and it's up to you how you travel that path. Okay, the first trend is that camping industry. So they are saying that tourism will evolve into camping. Okay. The second is fitness industry, and clearly I can see us at the back of you there is a fitness machine there. So fitness as an industry is growing. Third is travel industry, because people are looking at affordable bespoke travel. The fourth is casual dining industry, which is extremely important now, because now people have stopped going outside. How this casual dining industry shape up to the demand of the people? Because I want something variety, and how should from where should I order? The fifth is again a very interesting, and this is not for me or old people like me. This is coffee industry. Millennium lives and thrives on coffee, right? I live and thrive on masala chai. Okay. The sixth is the frozen food industry. Again, a very, very important industry, because we have seen the role of frozen food during this lockdown, right? अगर हमें पिज्जा खाना है, कुछ खाना है, तो हम order कर रहे हैं frozen food rather than ordering from a restaurant. The seventh is a very interesting industry. Again, is called the sparkling water. So millennials are not going for the carbonated soft drinks, but they are going for the sparkling water as an industry. The eighth is the house plant industry. It's a beautiful point. They have said wellness focused urban millennials brightening the surrounding, whether in the office or home, with house plant. The ninth is the skincare industry. Okay, because again, skincare has become so important because there is some virus tinkering outside, right? The 10th is the automotive industry. Yes, there is the Olas and the share cab of the world, but still the millennials are interested in having their own cars. The 11th is the micro mobility industry. You do the small Segway and the scooters, again becoming very famous for the people. And the last is the personal finance industry, which I personally feel has got a huge amount of spike during this COVID period, because for the first time, people have started looking into a bank balance and see, hey, I'm going to look into my savings, right? So there's the 12 industry. So as per you, how these 12, what the AIC RMP incubators are going to learn from these trends and unlearn, and what they are going to add into their own business pivot? I repeat, or you have all the 12 points?
Yeah, no, after the camping, which are the other one you
So
said?
after the camping industry, there was fitness industry.
Yeah.
Then there was the travel industry.
Travel, huh?
Then the fast casual dining industry.
Then
the coffee industry.
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah. All
Very
right.
interesting, right?
Yeah, and actually, when you were reading that list, I realized that almost all of these industries I have actually leveraged now over the last 1 year. Okay.
Wow.
So if there is something that speaks very strongly for this, I was just relating to, I mean, for example, camping or resorts. During this COVID-19, we wanted to go to places which were safe, but which were not very crowded.
Yeah.
And so you preferred, places where you can still commune with nature, but at the same time, you had the necessary privacy and social distancing norms, which in a camping industry, if you do it well, you're able to do that. And then when we talk about fitness, as you said, I have invested in fitness equipment, but more importantly, everybody in my family now is on some fitness program, which is digitally being enabled and so on. And then whether it frozen foods, of course, we are buying more and more of it because you are cooking at home. And so when you cook at home, you want to have the luxury of choice, and the frozen food gives you that choice. And then when you talk about the fitness is also related to people wanting, avoiding all these unhealthy beverages. Sparkling water is a good substitute between a beverage with a fizz and the water content, that is very useful. And then when you look at the home planning, or urban planning is becoming a lot more important, because work from home is enabling you to think about ways of converting maybe a small room or a small space within your house, even into an office, and become more productive and more focused. And then of course the micro mobility industry, everybody now feels with electric vehicles and electric transportation becoming possible, this mobility industry is going to increase, and micro mobility is going to increase. And then automotive industry, of course, is going to, there's a whole lot of technology. So if you look at all of this, first and foremost, I think these are industries which startups should look at, and RMP startups should definitely look at. Coffee, for example, for the first, I mean, we already have within the Atal Incubators Coffee Board Research Institute, CCRI, which is an incubator. And I have been mentoring those startups. There are about 16 or 17 startups with whom I connected with during the last couple of months. I was amazed at the number of products that they have come out. I didn't know that there are about 900 plus varieties of coffee that is available in India. I mean, we are talking about, we normally deal with 3 or 4 brands of coffee and so on and so forth. But there are 900 different varieties of, coffee, which is grown. And there is a huge market for export and a huge potential for internal consumption in India also. And what is interesting is that coffee is no longer, looked upon as the standard way of drinking coffee. I mean, you have cold coffee now, you have water, you don't add milk, but you could add other things and so on and so forth. The packaging becomes very important. The flavors become very important. So it's a growing industry, and I'm sure for India it is definitely something that is worth looking at. Now, what is giving rise to these industries, or where is the demand is increasing because people are having information available to them through the net. So all of these organizations which are growing, they're doing a tremendous job of marketing and disruptive marketing on the net. And that's how the awareness grows and the reach grows. And when the awareness and reach grows, your product sells. And also they are dependent, the cost of establishing these industries is not very high. It is affordable. So you can start off on a small way and then you can scale in a big way. And that's what startups need. They need to be able to start up in a small way and then, but have the ability and have the market to scale up. And all of them represent markets that can scale up. So this is one common thing that you can see. The second is, what I feel is, these are also the investments required, for the startups from somebody is not much. So you can do it in a systematic manner, right? So the funding sources will be easier to get. And by the way, these are traditional industries where, which have been in a different form. So you have many investors or business people who are engaged in this industry, but now see a new way of extending their industry.
This
right?
is brilliant point, sir. This is nothing new, but same newness.
Yeah, but the newness is, and the novelty is in the ability to come up with variants of this industry, increase the reach beyond maybe a local restaurant that somebody had, or maybe a local coffee shop that somebody had, or a local fitness center that they had. Suddenly, for example, my family, they are doing Zumba dancing practice every day, and the instructor is in Mumbai. And what has happened because of that friend network, almost every day somebody else is joining that. And the person who otherwise would have found it difficult to conduct a Zumba class in Mumbai now is having more than 40-50 students who are enrolling. And he is now seeing how to scale up by getting other trainers to be part of this whole thing. So the fitness industry is seeing a revolutionary change. And so also other things like singing or tutoring and so on and so forth. Now, one common thing that I want to share is technology is playing a big role in the growth of these industries. And I'm not talking just about dissemination. Dissemination is one part. The manufacturing part, 3D printing, for example, new coffee machines are being created. New auto components are being manufactured using 3D printing, and you're integrating sensor technologies to be able to create new products, based upon the data that is being gathered. And you are having AI technologies which are able to now add value to your product and your service. And then you are having supply chain or blockchain related technologies which is helping drive secure transactions, secure supply chains and so on. So there is a whole lot of technology, electronics, 3D printing, robotics, AR, VR in education, edtechs. I mean, I would have added to this education, because education is really going to change the way education is being imparted and how people get skilled. Technology is going to play a huge role. And in this AR, VR, cloud services, all of that is going to play a big role. Already in India, in the government of India has launched something called Unnati, and e-Samshiksha. E-Samshiksha is an online university that is being created across the country, and that's going to catch up like wildfire, because people are going to now register and you'll get a certificate, you'll get a degree which is associated with the university. So universities content and dissemination of that over the net, but having the physical proximity of being able to attend a university while attending these classes, that combination is going to happen more and more. And you're going to see people qualifying themselves better. So edtech industry is set to grow and boom. And all of these are very good reasons for AIC RMP to encourage incubation and startups in these areas.
Okay. Now, you have used a word called disruptive marketing with a lot of thirst, because I think you believe in it. And in the past 1 month, you have seen 2-3 things disruptive that has happened. For example, Airbnb today said they're opening their property for 20,000 Afghan refugees. It's a good deed, but at the same time, it's a great marketing, right? Yeah. And the second thing was that when Borosil as a company said, okay, we are going to take care of the employees who has lost parents or somebody very near due to COVID, we are going to take care of them. And when Tata did the same thing, the whole media covered that Borosil did a Tata. But this is the power of disruptive power of marketing. So the third question is very interesting question. Now, our father is always a son, has always been a son. Now, if you are an incubator, think of yourself as an incubator in AIC RMP. What one or two trend will excite you and say, hey, I'm going to do this and make my fortune out of it? What if you are an AIC RMP incubator? What one or two trends out of these 12 will excite you to say, hey, I'm going to make my fortune out of it?
You mean to say what one or two industries out of these 12 or
trends? Yeah, any one.
What you are saying? Which of these 12
will excite you the most?
Will excite me the most. Actually, it's a very difficult question because from my point of view, all 12 are very, very exciting, right? And see, what makes it exciting is how you're able to conceptualize your solution, which is scalable and which can meet the demands, that is pent-up demand which is there, right? That's what makes it exciting. Now, of course, there are many in this, there are some things which are always having a big scope. Food, the food industry, you always, you need hotels, you need restaurants, you need frozen food, you need supply chains which enable that storage of food and so on and so forth. So anything related to the food or agriculture industry is very exciting for India. And I think there is a huge opportunity for value adding food products in India. You see, we are the largest manufacturers of grains in the world, of rice, for example. We are the largest manufacturer of bananas, grower of bananas. We are the largest producer of milk in the world. But we are way down the value chain in terms of value adding food products that are being distributed out in the marketplace. And like frozen foods or dairy products or milk products, and a country like New Zealand with 3 million people and 33 million sheep is among the foremost, among the topmost exporters of dairy products. Or Holland, which is a small country, is a topmost exporter of dairy products. Whereas we in India should be the topmost exporter of dairy products across the world. And that's because the value addition that we do or enable on our products is very less. And we have not created the machinery or the storage capabilities or the value addition. And I see this as a huge opportunity. Therefore, the coffee industry, which is value adding coffee industry, is very important, and that has great potential. Or the frozen food industry, that has great potential. Or the sparkling water industry, that's again value adding food products, right? So I would say this, anything to do with food has huge scope for not only addressing our demand in India, which is 1.3 billion people, but also the rest of the world. The second I see is, the mobility industry. There is going to be a huge change in the mobility industry because of multiple issues. One, technology exists for you to look at electric mobility and electric transportation and so on and so forth. So anything that you do in that industry is huge. And the second is, you have climate change demands, which is going to drive all of this. And there are many electronics and emission control systems, which are very important when you're looking at that particular industry. More and more, you're going to have vehicles which will be supported by the government and which will be supported by the public, which is creating least disruption in the climate. And that will be one of the most disruptive industries for you to engage in. And I think just to pick up one more, I believe that education or edtech is going to be huge. And even though it is not one of the listed industries here, I think edtech industry is going to be very big. And I was a little surprised to find that the healthcare industry is not a part of this. But in a country like India, with 1 in 5, 1 in 3 infant mortality, 1 in 4 infant stunting, 1 in 5 maternal mortality, there is a huge opportunity for healthcare for the startups. And the demand, unless you have a healthy country, you're not going to have a healthy economy. As a saying goes, it is only when healthy, wealthy, and wise. So unless you're healthy, you cannot become wealthy or you cannot become wise. So that is again a very, very big opportunity.
So as per you, it will be EdTech, healthcare, and food. Anything related to food. Okay. Now the last two questions.
I said mobility.
Mobility. Yeah. Sorry. So last two questions, because this is a very invigorating discussion, but time is not on our side. So the last two questions. One question is that how you, from your perspective, what and how AIC RMP is playing the role in creating this valuable ecosystem for incubations of multiple dimensions. So how is AIC RMP? They are playing such a strong role in creating this ecosystem of incubations that is going to change what we call India today and India tomorrow.
Absolutely. You see, the whole idea of Atal Innovation Mission was, how do you create and promote this very vibrant ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the country? And there are two words which are very important. One is, how do you nurture a spirit of innovation? So innovation is very important, but you cannot innovate if you don't create that spirit of innovation in young people. And that is why at the school level, we set up thousands of tinkering labs, because we want to have our young students who are graduating from schools, starting from grade 6, we want them to acquire a problem-solving, innovative mindset. And that happens only when you explain to the students and give them the tools and the technologies to experiment, tinker, play with technology, and create solutions or prototype of solutions for problems you see in and around the community. So that's one part. The second is, how do you spur entrepreneurship? To spur entrepreneurship, you have to create that ecosystem in universities or with organizations like RMP, who will be able to foster world-class startups. So we want world-class incubators fostering world-class startups. And the purpose of RMP is and should be that we will be a world-class incubator, and every startup that will come out will be a world-class startup. And it's not a pipe dream, or it's not a some exotic dream, but it is a very much a feasible reality. Now, what does a startup get by coming to a world-class incubator like RMP? First, they are able to nurture innovation. An incubator is nurturing your innovation to a point where you are ready to face the world. Just like a child which is in the womb of the mother is protected and supported and helped until it's able to come out to the world, and then it blossoms into a full human being. Then it is having all its faculties and everything available to it, and then and the child blossoms into a beautiful human being. So also the incubator allows a startup to be able to stand on their own legs and be ready to not only face the world, but to grow in this world and grow to their full potential. What does a child do? They come, and you and me become human beings to rise to our full potential, whatever we are capable of. Similarly, the incubator allows the startup and fills the startup. I mean, it's beyond just coming out in the world. They are also filling them with the necessary tools, empowering them, providing the ecosystem, connecting them to networks, and so on. The second is, they provide a valuable network of networks. A startup grows only when you have the right VC resources, you have the right HR teams, you have the right access to labs, technology labs or research labs, and an incubator like RMP enables that network. So it not only enables a network, but enables a network of networks through their connections, through their. So this program is an example. You are reaching out, right? And you are communicating and you are sharing a whole lot of valuable information to startups, so they are having accessible. Otherwise, if they are on their own, alone somewhere, sitting down and doing their thing, they will be bereft of that knowledge. The third is the incubator brings a collaborative approach. The incubator becomes an extension of the startup. The way RMP should look upon it is that I am a startup. I am an extended team of this startup, and this startup success is my success. And that the ownership, when it comes like that, then the startup succeed, because they are having somebody else to support, and they enable collaboration between like-minded parties, between similar startups, and so on. The fourth is they bring access to best business, the business acumen and business plans and business practices and best practices in that. you have a great technology idea, you have a great startup idea, but you don't know how to run a business because you haven't never run a business. You're a young guy, full of energy, ready to take on the world, but you need to bring some structure and some experience of how to deal with the business challenges. How do you create a business plan? How do you ensure that you have taken care of a financial planning and so on and so forth? That requires the best practices and connections. And that's where the mentoring network of RMP will help. I mean, you are a mentor, I could be a mentor, anybody else who's been there, done that can be a mentor. Then the next thing is the incubator brings opportunities, opportunities from multiple points of view, from a customer point of view, from a partnership point of view, from a VC point of view, from a technology lab point of view. These opportunities are brought to the table to the startup for the startup to avail themselves of wherever they need it. And finally, an incubator enables global reach, not just Indian reach. A great incubator, a world-class incubator should build international connections. They should, because there is a huge market out there, and the export market. Just see how our ITS industry, which is still 95% export oriented and 5% only India oriented. And of course, India is that big pot of gold that is still there if they address it. But the startups can address that, and they can address global requirements. So that is where an incubator like RMP plays a an extremely value-adding role to all the startups who get a chance to get enrolled and select and out of the ecosystem.
So this question will not take you more than 30 seconds.
Could you try again?
This question.
You are on mute, I think.
No, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
This question will not take you more than 30 seconds. This is this fourth point that you have mentioned. Like companies like strategic brand management and strategic marketing company like Sam and Andy, like us, how incubators can leverage our expertise from your perspective, how incubators at any AIC can leverage the expertise of brand management, strategic marketing companies like Sam and Andy when they are looking at disruptive marketing.
Yeah. So, building a brand is so very important. Once you build a brand by word of mouth, as well as by advertisements and so on and so forth, it plays a very powerful role in creating an image of the company and the startup, and therefore, and thereby, gains recognition. You have to achieve a brand status where people relate to that brand in whenever they're thinking of something. For example, today, you think of hiring a cab, it is Ola. You think about Ola, you think about Uber, you think about Ola, you think about Oyo when you are traveling for this. So it's all building a brand and getting associated with that industry with which you are associated. And for that, you need professional help from brand managers like yours, as well as other companies. We need brand management is an art by itself. It is not throwing money in, that is not going to help create the brand. No brand will be sustainable if you don't have a world-class product. But a world-class product will need to develop still a world-class brand.
Brilliant point.
Yeah. So the brand doesn't assure you the quality of the product. So for you, at any point in time, the product should stand on its own merit, irrespective of the brand name. But once you have that, you need to develop a brand in order to be able to build that awareness, build that buy-in, build that trust. A whole lot of things go in a brand. It is trust, it is excitement, wanting to acquire that, a status. Take Apple. Why do people want to buy a smart watch, or why do they want to buy an Apple iPhone? That brand has become so big in their eyes that if you don't have that smartphone, you relate to it and you say, if I don't have that, I'm having another smartphone, but you will proudly say, I have a iPhone, right? Yep. So you need to associate a sense of pride with that brand, and a sense of desire for that brand, and a sense of achievement with that brand. These are all very important, and at the same time, the brand stands for quality. Like you want to build a sense of assuredness in yourself that this brand is an assuring brand. It is going to deliver what it has promised. And
Yes.
unless you build that, people will not still go for it, right? You will not go for an iPhone if the iPhone is not sturdy and having the high quality and so on. So all of these many emotional feelings get attached to your product. And when emotion gets attached to your product or your service, it scales up without any other requirement.
Wow,
So
brilliant point.
yeah, so that's why branding is so very important.
So let me absorb the wisdom that I got. It's so much of important wisdom. And the last thing was so important, that all the emotional values helps you to scale up without you trying to scale up so much.
Correct.
Brilliant. Over to you, Udayji. It's a pleasure to have you moderate you, sir. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your very thought-provoking questions also.
Pleasure, sir.
So I believe Baat Cheet, what we have created is for the ecosystem. It's not just AIC RMP, it's for the entire ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, the incubators, the budding ACICs that we have within the system, the ATLs. And it was so wonderful to see the discussions because, sir, I have always believed, as you rightly said, any AICs or any particular initiatives that's been set up, they have to look at it from a startup point of view. But execution has to be pretty big. I think most of the times we miss out on those big aspect of it, the vision part of it, and how do we really look at the bigger picture and start executing with smaller steps. I think that's where I believe that that's been wonderful, the one of the key learnings. And the other thing, I believe that you really spoke about innovation and you said, where is that value add or where is that particular value coming in from? I think most of the times we, at the time of screening as well, we check with startups and we ask them what's the innovation. Innovation is not just like creating something new. I think it's very important for them that where they are adding value. I think that's the most important part. That's I believe that's a learning for a lot of budding entrepreneurs, because most of the times they feel that what they are bringing in and their skill sets are the innovation. That's not the case. The innovation is mainly what has been required and how you adapt to it. And how do you really bring in those changes? And how would you really add value, not just maybe to a particular offering, but also to the industry? I think that's an important point, and that's where we really led it to the 12 industries, and we really wanted your perspective because I believe that the way forward for everyone is disruption, right? And every entrepreneur should really look at it. We talk about pivot, we talk about new age entrepreneurship, we talk about innovation and all those particular aspects, but the insights coming in from you really broadens the entire horizon and the way that we would really like to look at it as an ecosystem and also as a startup, because we have seen how AIM has been shaped up, how your different initiatives has been shaped up over a period of time, and how different incubators are executing, including the tinkering labs, how this has really taken up. So we have Kaun Banega Crorepati, I believe that
Yes.
in that particular episode as well. I think that's what we never thought about. Those are mainly outcomes, but unless you know the impact that you want to really create and the kind of output that you would put into your process as a startup, I think it's going to be very difficult. And that's where we really wanted to bring in, and we have heard you during our boot camps and our orientation sessions as well. But this is what we really wanted to bring in through the Baat Cheet. So thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate, and happy to share that rather we have started getting comments from the participants as well. We are going to upload this on YouTube channel, AIC RMP YouTube channel, and we'll share it with the entire community. And this is what we are really looking at. Happy to share that the next episode, the episode 9, what we have is more about nudge. It's more about 12 mistakes that the startups kind of make, and we are talking about failures over there. I think that's going to be also an interesting inside the Baat Cheet next session. So please kind of look forward to the next sessions, and every time whenever we are doing Baat Cheet, whether that's incubation ecosystem or innovation ecosystem at campuses, or bringing in or highlighting new innovation, new innovators or startups from our ecosystem or outside the ecosystem as well. I believe what we are really leading to is also ensuring that it's a world-class product and a world-class incubator, and at the same point of time, don't just restrict ourselves to a particular geography. I think COVID has taught us too many things now to be more adaptable and also think beyond geographies as well. I think with the help of technology, we can certainly do that, and Baat Cheet is one of those examples of, with the help of technology, we are doing it. And this is what we really look forward to. So once again, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Uday, and thank you, Anindya, for
Pleasure, sir.
a very interactive session. And I just want to end by, emphasizing the point that Uday just now made, and that is the globe is your stage, the world is your stage. It is not just your city, your state, or your country, but the world is your stage. And for that, you have to dream big, as Abdul Kalam said, dream big, and you'll achieve great things. But in this dream, please remember that you have many baby steps to take, and therefore don't be carried away with your dream without a very clear action plan on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis. This is what I need to achieve this year and next year and next year, and have the larger plan and the larger vision, but at the same time have a very basic ground plan for you to be able to act on. And when you do that, your success is assured. All the very best to everybody who has logged on to this call, and all the budding entrepreneurs
Thank you so much
on the stage.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Anindya.